week to face the adventures that lie beyond. Welcome to the program. My name is Mavis Atodome, and this is High Voltage. You can join us live on YouTube at High Voltage News. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to call in live into the studio to share your thoughts and analysis on newspaper reviews and of course analysis. So please join me this morning. Let's review what's happening in the country. Let's find out what's happened over the weekend in case you didn't catch up or you haven't been looking out. Let's do a rundown and then see what the week ahead would look like on the political space. Welcome. All right, this morning let's quickly move over to the Daily Post news this morning to tell you that the first thing on the news is hardship. A nationwide protest looms as Nigerians reject the telecom tariff increase. Okay, that's the first thing on the news. A nationwide protest is currently brewing in Nigeria following the recent approval by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, for telecommunications outfits to increase their tariff up to 60%. And this was after a negotiation with the federal government. They initially wanted a complete 100% increase, but by the time they were done with their negotiations with all the bodies that were possibly going to sit on that conversation, federal government, CBN, and other prominent heads of decision making, and they decided that 60% was good enough. And then after 60%, they kind of like dropped it down to 50, but the reported amount was 60%. So whatever it is you're paying now, do like a 60% increase on that. And moves like this is not the experience that the average Nigerian wants to wake up to in the morning, considering that the government at hand did promise that it will try to reduce the weight that its policies are taking on the people. But so far, it doesn't seem like he's honoring that part of the arrangement, because it seems the moves are almost anti-people at this point. The taxes are too much, and you're coming for every angle, you're coming for every sector, and it's not okay. All right, and that's on the telecom increase. The NLC has made their unacceptance known, and so many other sectors have spoken up, but the right people haven't spoken up. You don't see any other persons talking. This is not a time for governors to speak. You don't hear lawyers. You don't see the judiciary up in arms. You don't see anybody bothered about this. The labor union in this country has experienced a change that is quite unfortunate, whereby she's not feared, not respected, not included. You haven't even made sure that your workers are receiving the agreed minimum wage, an arrangement you had with the federal government considering her policies. So far, we've not had anything. It's just on paper that minimum wage is 70,000 naira, but can Nigeria bear witness to that amount of money? That question remains to be answered. Moving on, human trafficking. UN agency report is troubling. All right, so the UN agency's report for human trafficking, I guess in the past 1 year, that's from 2024, has been quite troubling. This is coming from stakeholders. All right, let's see if there's more that you should know from the Daily Post this morning. All right, fuel price is to reduce as global crude costs lowers. Now, we hope that this reduction also affects us, because things like this don't usually affect us. The ones that affect us is inflation of other people's currencies. All right, but hey, globally, fuel price is about to reduce. We hope that our government will key into that and try to relieve the burden of the Nigerian people. All right, still in the news, don't let politicians undermine Nigeria's anti-corruption effort. This is coming from CSLAC to IGP of the police. All right, so that's it. Stop violating environmental laws or face consequences, Kwara State Commissioner once. All right. Also, retired army generals and legal luminaries decry rot in judiciary and insecurity. You better continue to cry. You better speak up. You better shout and scream at the top of your voices. Decry the rot in judiciary and the insecurity in this country because they are all connected. It's all a beautifully planned family. All right, it's all into it's a romance. The rot in the judiciary and insecurity and the unfortunate behaviors we've seen in our politics, all related. So yes, enough crying should be done about this situation. All right, enough crying should be put into it. Also, did you hear what Oshomole, former governor of Edo State, had said about them knowing that it is former Nigerian army generals who are stealing the Nigerian crude, mining, and he made a lot of allegations, and he says in his own words that they know. Now I'm thinking that in a proper environment, such a man would have been called for certain questions. If we lived in a country where things are taken seriously, someone should have been telling us certain things by now. But apparently they can just up the top of their head say these things, and there are no consequences for such information. I don't know if have any use for such information, or the politicians, when they make exposés like this, do they think it's a joke? Or do they think they're still bantering and that this is politics? Because ever since he made that statement, all kinds of thoughts have crossed my mind. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering too. Or it's just one of those things that we say. And then, if it's one of those things that you say, is that something that you can actually say? Is that not even terrorism on its own? If we're talking terrorism in this country, that is a terrorist statement. If you make such an accusation, something has to happen. Something has to happen. Investigations. We need to, something has to happen. Someone has to tell us something. If you say that you have information on something like this, well, maybe what he's saying, is it really illegal? Or is it something that's supposed normal in this environment? The information that Oshomole had dropped over the weekend, that information, is it a normal statement? Is it something that's normal? Because we seem to have normalized so many abnormal things around here. So I'm wondering, that statement that Oshomole had made. Anyways, the phone lines are open. You can join me this morning. Let's look at some of these things. 0706 048 5853. You can also call 0915 570 8347 to be a part of the program this morning. And of course, it's still the telecom business. Subscribers have met with the NCC, or are to meet with the NCC today as Labour mobilizes for shutdown. All right, we've heard it all before. We hope that you're serious this time. Forced retirement, Falana urges Tinubu to reinstate 20 generals and 18 others. He has been pleading for this for quite a while now. Okay, still in the news, police post 10,000 constables and plan 30,000 annual recruitments. Is that a good thing? Well, we're just watching. We hope that it's good. All right, let's continue to pick it up from the Punch this morning. Marketers may dump Dangote fuel as imported petrol costs 922 naira per liter. Whatever reduces the cost, you guys get to it. Obasa, Assembly tighten security as police promise peaceful plenary today. Obasa also has refused to vacate office and says having governorship ambitions is not a crime. And the people in Lagos State are hoping or are believing that this will open up some cans of cankerworms, and that so many things are about to unfold in Lagos State. We will be here to tell you all about it. Moving on, 1.3 billion naira fraud. The police is to arraign Obanikoro's son and others by February 27th. 1.3 billion naira fraud. All right, 22 soldiers and 7 terrorists have been killed in Borno State. Military operation. Sorry about the lost soldiers. Wike is a serial betrayer and a threat to PDP, says Bauchi State Governor. All right, Arabishola's group quit APC and cites members' expulsion and suspension. Dramas continue to unfold. Let's see if there are other things that you should know about. Okay, from the Punch? No, I think we have enough. Okay, let's see what's on the Vanguard news this morning quickly for you before we go to our investigated stories and tell you what's going on over there. All right, on the Vanguard news this morning, bandits in flux. Southwest governors are not collaborating with us on security, says Gani Adams, OPC and hunters. Okay, so Southwest governors are not collaborating with us on security. This is coming from Gani Adams, OPC and Hunters Association. Now, if you don't know, the Southwest is experiencing banditry and their harassment. They are also facing Sharia laws taking over their environments. So they are kind of struggling with some northern, perhaps, interaction with their people, and it's difficult for them. But according to this particular headline, it turns out the governors are not cooperative in terms of security and how things are going over there. Perhaps the people who say that the governors are the reasons why some of our states are unsafe might be onto something, because why won't the governors cooperate with security outfits and agents to keep their states safe? Whatever expensive game we all seem to want to play in this nation for our selfish interests and gains, I hope that we're willing to chester the consequences of these actions, because some of you are taking your selfishness to another level and you're leveraging your people just to get the things that you want. And I can tell you that is a very ugly behavior. That is very ugly. Anyways, federal government advocates for Africa's permanent seat on U.S. Security Council. All right, birthright citizenship, Nigerians in diaspora kick and says it's illegal. Well, welcome to reforms. That's how reformations work. When people mean business, they mean business. All right, Tinubu names former Lagos Commissioner Ubeifa NRC Managing Director. PDP crisis, support Damagun or leave. Elected deputies tell opponents. Okay, so more drama in the PDP. Moving on, telecoms, NLC, TUC and CNG and others reject 50% tariff hike. All right, a lot of rejections, but you've been rejected so much. We've seen you reject every policy, reject everything. But at the end of the day, they've all been put in place. They're all functional. So, sorry. All right, let's tell you that Elon Musk trashes Trump's $500 billion AI plans. All right, and he has also been restricted from accessing the president. Oh, yes. Susie Wiles had drawn up some restrictions between Elon Musk and President Trump for security reasons, and of course to not also give certain ideas. It's a lot, but a lot of people are happy with the mini separation between President Trump and Elon Musk. But yeah, that is happening. Okay, moving on. Issues with access to justice in Nigeria. Adegboruwa San speaks. All right, that's as good as it gets The Vanguard this morning, that's it. I think that's what you need to know. Now let me take you to our investigated stories. Let me show you what I found over the weekend, and of course as well as into this morning as well. Do you know so many things are happening in this country? Also, that goes for family affairs as well. In case you didn't know, Two-Face Idibia and Annie Idibia have called it quits as at last night. It's all over the place. So many people are besides themselves for so many reasons. But yeah, that's life. But that's on the news this morning as well. And also, I mentioned to you about the expose that the person of Oshomole had made over the weekend, where he had made some very, very high accusations and had mentioned that former army generals and former generals in Nigeria were responsible for some of the, not some, he said they were the ones in charge of the illegalities in the oil sector. And he sounded like he meant business. It sounded like he wasn't joking. And then he says that they know. It was very audacious. He says they know that they are the ones who are doing it, right? But he didn't say it like it was a problem. It wasn't coming out like it was something that was urgent. It wasn't coming out as urgent. It sounded like something that could be looked away. It sounded like something that wasn't that important. And that makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, how much more do they know? And they've kept quiet this whole time. How much more? How much more information do you people have about the things that are going wrong in this country, and you have refused to do something or say something or try to help the Nigerian people make sense of these issues? How much information do you have that you've decided to keep all to yourself? I mean, that's coming from Oshamole. Who knows more? Well, let's hear what you think. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, my sister. How are you?
You're very welcome.
Yeah, the market is coming from Enugu.
You're welcome.
I want to start with what happened in Ajuguanya during the weekend. We have people with a very sad development, very pathetic. I think my communities go to the family or involved. I just hope that the people, the government should put drastic measures to stop the occurrence of such incidents. And maybe I was expecting it to be very prominent in your report this morning, but I didn't hear about it.
You will. I am not done.
And I have come to realize that when something happens in the southeast here, the media can play it. If it happens in other parts of Nigeria, it will be played for almost 1 month, 2 months. Look at the one that happened in Niger, almost a little time. When the after the Lala or arrested somebody, defamation, it lingered for almost 1 month. Where a lawyer was killed somewhere in Imo State, where the court, the lawyer's handled, it's not reported. We have to start reporting issues that affect us here seriously so that the world can take us serious. When a maker dies here, nothing happens. It be a corruption circumstance. If somebody dies elsewhere, we say, hash this, justice for this. There be no justice for maker and Uche. So such thing is very sad. We have to, put prominence to the report that concerns us. I respected you this morning to start with that. I don't know whether it is not in the media, whether it's not in the newspaper.
Well, it's just like you've mentioned.
Such impression so that the world will take us serious. Thank you, God bless you.
All right, Vin Martins, thank you for your observations this morning. Well appreciated and accepted. And if you notice, we usually start these stories with the national dailies. You must pay attention. This is the thing about us. We must pay attention. And everything doesn't have to be sensationalism. It's not sensationalism. This is national newspaper dailies. Now, I don't write the dailies. Do you understand, Mr. Vin Martins? I do not write the dailies, and I cannot formulate stories by myself and then tell them to you. If you listened this morning, you would have heard that I started with the national dailies, where I read you out newspaper headlines from designated newspaper channels. And if you are an added listener of this program, which I believe you are, you would also know that there is a section of this newspaper reviews called the investigated stories, where I get to tell you real things that are happening locally and even nationally, but of course with so much more details. So sir, you must relax and calm down and know that we do our job here, and we do it well. We make sure that everybody knows everything that's going on. All right, we still have 30 minutes into the program. You have enough time to catch up on all the information that you need to satisfy your curiosity this morning. And yes, you are not wrong. The stories in the Southeast are sometimes underreported. And this argument can go on for days, because there are for so many reasons why that is. But you must understand that the media, especially us, we are actually doing our best to make sure that we give you complete and concrete information, right? And also, I don't know if you've heard that the Southeast is being very terribly marketed outside of the Southeast, where so many people have refused to come back here to do so many things because of insecurity, and so many other stories that you do not know are being exaggerated outside of here. All right, so it was a very black Saturday in Enugu State on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday was ugly in Enugu. Saturday was the 25th of January. Lives were lost at Uguonyama, where a tanker had fallen, and it was tragic. WhatsApp messages have gone out, videos and ugly audio and media has gone out. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, Mary.
Greetings.
This is Charles from Afibu.
You're welcome, Charles.
Talking about the Shomel and his accusation
Yes.
of the military.
Mm-hmm.
This is a man that has been a labor leader for, since the 90s to 2000, and a governor, a party chairman, a senator, and in fact, has been everything. So when he's talking, he knows what he's saying.
Okay.
You understand? So he's not naive. He's not an inexperienced person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So for him to be pointing at his fingers at the military, that means that what he's saying is factual.
Okay.
The truth is that we all fear the military. Just recently, some people refuse to prove them. People order and say, why has people refused to prove the military? In fact, people said he wasn't going to prove them. People were now saying, why is he not? He's proving CB and another place, another establishment. Because he's afraid.
Do you think he is? Do you think is it afraid, or you think maybe a more cordial relationship is what they have? Do you think he's afraid of the military? Yes.
I have some military friends,
okay.
And I know the things they tell me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in the mirror. There is the way they carry themselves. There are some things they will say. I can't even say on air.
No, please don't say them on air, please. But maybe these are just their own personal observations of what is happening. Does that mean that's reality?
Okay, you know what I want you to take to worry.
To worry, okay.
For any of these barracks, maybe Rivers State, the Delta State.
But we have barracks here in the east. Is there something wrong?
Barracks. Yeah, go to their barracks. All those military barracks in the south.
Okay,
area.
south. Okay.
You see the kind of cars sergeants drive. I'm not talking of general. I'm not talking of colonel. I'm not talking of lieutenant colonel.
Okay.
Those areas as well. Those oil-rich states.
Yes.
If you go, you think you're in a car shop.
Really?
They drive super cars.
You mean like soldiers? You mean soldiers in this country?
Soldiers. When you talk about oil bunkering, is it not in the water? Naval officers are culpable. When you talk about oil bunkering, the oil bunker is going in the seas, in the waters. You understand?
Yes.
So oil bunker cannot be going without Navy officers doing. And when you go to all those places all those areas, Army officers man them. Army officers give protection to most oil companies. I don't want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So they see some things to them. See why Danjuma today, he's not a military man. He was taking so many oil wells. How did he make money? It's not oil. He has
Mm-hmm.
oil wells. See why Danjuma.
Okay,
There's so many of them.
but Charles, hold on. Now that Oshomole now that he said this thing and revealed this information, what do you think will happen? Because now that he has released it, what are we supposed to do with it? Are they going to go after these army generals? What do you think will happen?
I think they're afraid of them. It's difficult to even go after them.
For real.
It's extremely difficult. There's something you do, they will join this administration. And you need to be very careful with them. Because they were in government for almost 30, 40 years.
I hear you.
So they still have strongholds.
They still have
People still refer Bangladesh till today.
A lot of them.
Even the Abbotted dynasty, they still respect them. So one of Abacha's sons had an oil well sometimes. One of his last, not even his first son.
Oh yes, and the Awalos. A lot of them do have.
I mean, one of his children had an oil. I don't know that he had the oil well up to today. So when I was talking about linking the military with the oil, but I was discussing with one of my friends. He said, I mentioned an army officer. He said, man, guy, who keenly goes to oil now? Oil business. I'm telling you, this was last year. You get? Hello?
I'm with you, Charles. I'm with you.
I say, he said, man,
you have 30 seconds. Let's see if other people can join the conversation.
Almost done. So that's so we can't deny the influence of the military in the oil sector. Good morning.
Thank you, Charles. You see why we have this conversation. That's like a perspective I didn't completely look over. The fact that those strongholds still exist and that they are quite attended to every now and then, because that level of information is supposed to cause a ruckus in this country. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Greetings. Good morning.
Yeah, justice.
You're welcome.
I want to talk about Two-Face. I saw this thing. He was trying to let people know that his account was not hacked.
Yes.
You see, I know it will happen.
Okay.
And I know it will happen because I don't see the reason why you should be visiting your in order to see your children, and you sleep over. And Anne has been complaining about this. Two-Face will go to see the rest of America, and he will sleep over in the house. It doesn't show maturity. I think he is more entangled with that one in America than his real wife, Nan. So, and it's very difficult. Just like the other one that went and married a pastor. This one has worked away. This one is not married. I don't think she's married. If she's married, I don't see the reason why Two-Face will come there and sleep over. And you know that so much things involved between them, which Anne don't know. He doesn't know what so much involved between them. I like the story because let's see how the thing unfolds. I told you this. I'm not going to lament. I'm not going to discuss politics.
So you have made peace with the conditions of this country. If you have started making like 6 figures daily, let me know, sir. I have some applications for you to fill.
Yes, I'd rather be in that fight than having given myself headache upon.
We will call EFCC for you. This kind of this thing that you are doing.
Maybe the worst part of it that these people they have here, they don't listen. They don't listen. So whatever they want to do, how can you do an increment of 50% in an economy like this? 50%. They did it in fuel. We did not talk. We did not talk.
But
So
we
they
have not
think-
been talking. We have not been talking, and they will continue to do it. That's the problem. That's listen. It seems there's something we're not understanding. That's the problem. They have been pushing because you have been silent. You are letting it all slide. You see that resilience of yours. It's become an advantage of this point. It's become a disadvantage at this point because, like usual, we're quick to say, I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. Let them do what they want. And you know what has happened? They have continued to do what they want. They say the power of life and death is in your mouth. You think they are playing? They're not playing. You've been telling them to do what they want, and they've been doing exactly that. Check places where they didn't want the system to continue. I've talked about this last week. I told you that when people don't want a system to work, when people are tired of a system, the Igbos will say that when a deity proves to be too stubborn, they will show that deity the tree in which they were carved from. That is how the human societal system functions. If a people are tired of a system, they will come together and break that system. They will come together and break that circle. That's what happens. So, as long as we keep saying they can do what they want, it's already the way. I've heard these statements. We say we have different phrases for saying it. It is what it is. We have all ways of saying it. Yes, they can help. They can help one navigate. It helps to make sense of the situation. It helps you to stay in reality. But the truth is, yes, if you want them to continue, they will continue. They have continued. We've not spoken differently. Good morning.
Sorry, my airtime finished.
Apologies.
See, like now, we are talking now. Even if we talk from now to tomorrow, there will still be another increment on another commodity. In the next 2 months or 3 months, now, they will still find something they will increment. So these people have made life so, just like some people, I don't see, like I always say, I don't expect anything from them. I don't wake up to expect anything from them. I've never dreamt of them doing anything for me, and they've not done anything for me in the past years. I don't expect anything from them. I wake up, I do my thing. At the end of the day, whether positive or I keep push on.
Did you go to a public school at any point in your life?
Yes, I did.
Which one? Was it primary school or secondary school? Was it primary or secondary school?
Both primary and secondary.
Both primary and secondary school. That's good.
During the military.
During the military. So,
during the military.
But did you enjoy that somebody took away that burden from your parents and you were able to enjoy that good public school that you attended?
Even with military then, life was more better than now we have.
That is what a lot of people have said. Those of you that were, those of you that were around.
We weren't paying school fees then.
So would you call that education you had like a benefit that the Nigerian system gave you? Do you think that
it's a right? It's not a benefit.
Okay, it's a right. It's a right. But can we call that right that you earned as a Nigerian a benefit of said government, said military government? Can we call it a benefit for you?
Of course, well.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering, what is wrong if we're able to have those benefits now? Is it so terrible?
Because covetousness is in our leader now. Ones were not too, they were covetousness, but there were not too many covetousness in them. These ones want to build a house. They want to do you know that most of those military governors, many of them does not own a house. Do you know? Do your investigation. Many of them, you don't hear of them now. They died wretched.
Is wretched the right word? Because some of them are still cashing out even while they were dead. We're still receiving loot from military governments.
Kind of covetousness wasn't in them. You can come to a military officer, then how many of them have been hearing the name that owns this company or the other, that owns this organization or the other? How many of them have been hearing?
Not necessarily.
Just like we have with our politicians now. We see them having many things, building refineries. And how many of them do you know that have refineries all over the African countries?
It's more like our politicians are businessmen with a sprinkle of politician.
They are greed. Not all businessmen. They are greed. Their greediness is top notch. So you can't compare. Let them live the way they want to live. I think they should emulate from those guys. Go and do the investigation. All the military governors that rule the Enugu state, let me, for example, do a background check of them. And you will see that many of them were only dependent on their salary, on their pension.
But then again, did you think Nigeria was as rich as it was then?
Very rich.
Now?
Very rich. There was a Gulf War then, and you know that. There was a Gulf War. And money, there was, in fact, we are rich. Not just like we are rich now.
We're rich then.
Rich. Maybe it's happened that I'm not
Good morning to you too, Justice. Thank you for calling the program. We will not leave it alone. You understand? It cannot happen. If we left it alone, whatever you think is happening now will be a joke. You have to stay on top of it. Let me take you to our investigated stories once again, because there are a few things here that you might find interesting. All right. Nigerian police arrest Kano Anti-Corruption Agency boss Magaji for seizing property linked to APC chairman Ganduje. This is coming from Sahara Reporters. Also, something from home. Peter Obi has told us what his retirement plans will be. And according to him, he says he will retire to Onitsha as a secondary school teacher to inspire students. Mr. Peter, we are not surprised. We know it sounds very much like something that you would do to retire to secondary school. Those children will be so lucky and happy to have you. Also, speaking on investigations, Nigeria's debt burden have swollen, with each citizen, you all, including myself, now owes 624,522 naira per citizenry. That's what our debt cost has risen to. And of course, it has risen by 63% under President Tinubu's administration. So you might all just keep that at the back of your mind, as we're all presently debtors in the country. All right. About what Oshomole had said. He says, I know retired military generals carrying out illegal mining in Nigeria. He speaks. And this story goes on and on. If you want to pick more up, you can check us out at High Voltage News on YouTube. We have complete stories, updated and brand new breaking stories for you, so that you can just know what's going on and catch up. Please like, subscribe, and also share. And that's as good as it goes this morning. I told you that on Saturday, there was a tanker explosion at Ugwuonyama with so many lives lost. The numbers are quite uncertain, but it was such a tragic situation at Ugwuonyama, and hopefully the governor of Enugu State is going to try his best to check out that situation and fix it. He's a very conscious man. I am sure that he is onto something to try to fix that situation at Ugwuonyama. That area has always been a death trap for years now. If you have lived in this town long enough, you would have known. Ugwuonyama is synonymous with motor accidents and tragic incidents. We pray for the people who have lost their lives, and we hope that God accept their souls and give them peace. Good morning to you.
Good morning, my dear.
Greetings.
Please, I heard you talk about Ugwuonyama.
Yes, sir.
I will please because I cannot reach the governor
Mm.
or the appropriate authority.
Mm.
But please help me send to them. The Onyama mine, no trailer, no tanker should ply that road in the daytime.
In the daytime.
They should, yes. If I remember one day I was coming back from my village here in Udi.
Mm.
I ran into that place and the trailer, the tanker trailer fell break. We were just very lucky. It could have been the same story. So if this is not properly checked, it will continue because the devils in that Onyama are wicked devils. And it's always going through the trailers, either the tankers or the ordinary trailers.
So you think there's something wrong with that environment?
Yes, there is something really wrong with that place. So please, let the governor issue out an order.
Okay.
Once it's 10 to 12, 1, 2 a.m., let the tankers and the trailers come and go. When the smaller cars and the people are already on bed.
Okay.
Once it's 6 o'clock in the morning, no tanker should, dare that road, that Onyama mine.
Mm.
And that is, you go to other states, trailers are given time to come into town. Not just at random. You see, but here they come and they crush people, they go their way, and people keep money. Please, I thank you for having me.
Thank you. You didn't tell us your name. Yes.
My name is Chris, please.
Where are you calling from, Mr. Chris?
I'm calling from Enugu, from Owani.
Thank you. Thank you. I
There's a
appreciate
woman is my name.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Appreciations. Thank you for calling. Your message has been duly received, and I guarantee you, the government is always listening. Oh yes, they always are listening because it is the job. Okay, so Your Excellency, Pitamba, we ask you, sir, to actually look into this. I don't know, but Ugwanyama has had its own. It's had a synonym to it. It's sciences. Some people think it might be godly. I don't know, but I believe that you have the powers to find out what's really regulation problem. If it's a complete shutdown, what will be the solution to reduce the tragic incidents that is associated with? Because at this point it's become like, it's not even a stereotype because it is happening. We've reported so many accidents on that part of the road. All right, so please let the governor and his people please look into that situation and see how to moderate the movement there. See what the best thing is. If it's the cut out, because I think if there's really a problem, will cutting out the daytime movement solve the problem? I'm thinking if there's really a problem there, saying don't ply it during the daytime, is it? Though the big vehicles have to be regulated. It's not okay if they come into town in the daytime. But I'm saying if you stop the trailers from using the Ugwanyama in the daytime, and the place has a problem, how about little cars that will ply the road during the day? Because except we're shutting it down. So I'm thinking that a more holistic approach should be followed in terms of dealing with this Onyama mine situation. All right. Also, let's quickly run through more of this story before we shut it down this morning. Don't forget to join this program every day, 9 a.m. till 10. If you've made any political observations, social affairs, we are dealing with all of that topical issues on this program, so you can always call in. The show is open for sponsorship and of course partnership, so you can always come to number 64 Zubulu Street at Independence Layout. That's where we are. That's where the vote office is. You can come and do business with us. We are solar powered. Your adverts and your programs would never fail, not on our watch. We've never had any failures before. We are guaranteed to give you 100% premium service. Okay, so quickly before I run off, investigations. Nigerian lawmakers demand 480 million naira from universities to approve the 2025 budget. If you don't know how terrible this headline sounds, let me read it to you again. Nigerian lawmakers have demanded 480 million naira from Nigerian universities to approve the 2025 budget. Now, did I tell you earlier that a bunch of people in this country are decrying the judiciary and the insecurity in this country? Conversations like this is why we are crying. If the lawmakers in Nigeria are demanding 480 million naira from universities, what are you people talking about? Are you trying to send Nigerians to each other? What is this? Because you take these monies, it reflects on the students because somebody has to pay for it. You are taking too much, and I hate that nobody can control any of you. I hate that there is no accountability, there is no responsibility, there is nobody that can tell anybody in this country to stop. It's so sad. It's so shameful that none of us can tell each other to stop. You don't have any limits. You're putting your hands everywhere. You don't have any control. You're asking for money from universities. You all ought to be ashamed at this point. You have to be. You really have to be. Right. The lawmakers operating through the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund and the House Committee on University Education are demanding money from universities to approve their budgets. Using an elaborate and complex system created by the lawmakers, 60 federal university vice chancellors are required to pay 8 million naira each. That's 4 million naira each to Senate and House committees. This is so detailed. You people are shameless. You are shameless. You don't have any limits to how far you can go to show that you have no respect for Nigerians. You don't have any limits you can go. You can just go crazy. That's it. Anybody can come here and go crazy. Anyways, I remain Lagos Assembly Speaker until due process is followed, says Obasa. Also, quit Southwest now or die, says Gani Adams. Yoruba leaders warn Boko Haram. Swap operators hibernating in the region. Southeast, take notes, it's happening, take notes. This country is not a joke. Anything you're not calling serious in this country would one day wake up and stare you right in the face. That has been our greatest undoing in this country. We let our problems get up to our necks before we realize that they are bad enough. The lived experience of the Nigerian person and the policies that her politics is making is very, very, very disconnected. It's very disconnected. And the lies that are continuing to be pushed out on the media that says otherwise of the Nigerian experience is the saddest part of the story. And let me encourage each and every one of you, waving things away and pretending they are not there, or convincing yourself that you'll be fine despite, because some of you swore that this administration, these things that are happening will favor you and your families. You turned it into a slogan. You started saying it and telling it to yourselves. And some of you even went as far as believing it. And here we are today with complaints and complaints. We cannot wake up each day without complaining and lamenting, turning into crazy people, mental health deteriorating, poverty encroaching, hunger taking the people by storm. You must realize that we all matter in the grand scheme of things, in the decision making, in the face that this country has eventually. My name is Mavis Atudume. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. All right? Try while you're out there today to be a good person. First of all to yourself, and then to the people around you. Maybe a little kindness will get us closer to where we want to be. Have a good morning.